Good morning, philosophers. Hope you're well today. We are beginning book 4. If I can unstick the pages from each other, we'll begin. Here we go, book 4. This one doesn't actually have a title, it's just book 4. Number 1. Our inward power, when it obeys nature, reacts to events by accommodating itself to what it faces, to what is possible. It needs no specific material. It pursues its own aims as circumstances allow. It turns obstacles into fuel. As a fire overwhelms what would have quenched a lamp, what's thrown on top of the conflagration is absorbed, consumed by it, and makes it burn still higher. Number 2. No random actions. None not based on underlying principles. Number 3. People try to get away from it all. To the country, to the beach, to the mountains. You always wish that you could too, which is idiotic. You can get away from it any time you like, by going within. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul, especially if you have other things to rely on. An instant's recollection, and there it is. Complete tranquility. And by tranquility, I mean a kind of harmony. So keep getting away from it all like that. Renew yourself, but keep it brief and basic. A quick visit should be enough to ward off all blank and send you back ready to face what awaits you. What's there to complain about? People's misbehavior? But take into consideration that rational beings exist for one another, that doing what's right. Rational beings exist for one another? Not sure about that. That doing what's right sometimes requires patience. That no one does the wrong thing deliberately. No one does the wrong thing deliberately? No one does the wrong thing deliberately. I'm almost positive that's false. And the number of people who have feuded and envied and hated and fought and died and been buried. And keep your mouth shut. Or, are you complaining about the things the world assigns you? But consider the two options, providence or atoms, and all the arguments for seeing the world as a city. Or is it your body? Keep in mind that when the mind detaches itself and realizes its own nature, it no longer has anything to do with ordinary life. The rough and the smooth, either one. And remember all you've been taught and accepted about pain and pleasure. Or is it your reputation that's bothering you? But look at how soon we're all forgotten. The abyss of endless time that swallows it all. The emptiness of all those applauding hands. The people who praise us, how capricious they are, how arbitrary. And the tiny region in which it all takes place. The whole earth, a point in space, and most of it is uninhabited. How many people there will be to admire you and who they are? So keep this refuge in mind. The back roads of yourself, above all, no strain and no stress. Be straightforward. Be straightforward. Look at things like a man, like a human being, like a citizen, like a mortal. And among the things you turn to, these two. 1. That things have no hold on the soul, they stand there unmoving outside it. Disturbance comes only from within, from our own perceptions. 2. That everything you see will soon alter and cease to exist. Think of how many changes you've already seen. The world is nothing but change. Our life is only perception. Number 4. If thought is something we share, then so is reason. What makes us reasoning beings? If so, then the reason that tells us what to do and what not to do is also shared. And if so, we share a common law, and thus are fellow citizens, and fellow citizens of something. And in that case, our state must be the world. What other entity could all of humanity belong to? And from it, from this state that we share, come thought and reason and law. Where else could they come from? The earth that composes me derives from earth, the water from some other element, the air from its own source, the heat and fire from theirs, since nothing comes from nothing, or returns to it. So thought must derive from somewhere else as well. Let me reread part of that. Number 4. If thought is something we share, then so is reason. What makes us reasoning beings? If so, then the reason that tells us what to do and what not to do is also shared. I don't think that's the case because of Hume's law. Your reason is based on a goal, an arbitrary subjective goal that you set. Now, granted, I think most of us share similar goals. For instance, living. Most of us want to live. And so based on that goal, reason does tell us what to do and what not to do. And those conclusions for the rational are also shared. And in that way, we share a common law, and in that way, could be considered fellow citizens of the goal of living. But that's much more limited in scope than what I think he's talking about. Anyway, just thinking through things. Number 5. Oh wait, no, not done with number 4, sorry. And in that case, our state must be the world. What other entity could all of humanity belong to? And from it, from this state that we share, come thought and reason and law. Where else could they come from? The earth that composes me derives from earth, the water from some other element, the air from its own source, the heat and fire from theirs, since nothing comes from nothing or returns to it. So thought must derive from somewhere else as well. Number 5. Death. Something like birth, a natural mystery, elements that split and recombine. Not an embarrassing thing, not an offense to reason or our nature. Number 6. That sort of person is bound to do that. You might as well resent a fig tree for secreting juice. Anyway, before long you'll both be dead, dead and soon forgotten. Number 7. Choose not to be harmed. And how I just made this into a cover quote. I think I posted it on Twitter yesterday and on our website, disenthralled.me/cover quotes for a bunch of these. It's funny that we just come across it the day after I post it. Number 7. This is one of my favorite quotes, and this is something like the entire world needs to internalize, to hear, understand, and internalize right now. Especially the left with their safe spaces and trigger warnings and microaggressions. These 2 sentences I'm about to read are the antidote, are the antithesis of their entire thinking. And yesterday even, man, this is providential. Like yesterday I interviewed Michael Edelstein on Anarchast, and we talked about this and the Stoics, the lessons that we get from Stoics, like the one that we're reading right now, and how his therapy method, what did he call it? Rational behavior therapy? Something like that. I forgot the name of it. But how it's all about correcting your perspective on reality and realizing basically the following 2 sentences that I'm about to read. Okay, enough prefacing. I'm just marveling over. Okay, here we go. Number 7. Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. So obviously this is referring primarily to, emotion, feels harms, right? Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. I mean, just like take that and just rub it in. You are in control of the connection between your thoughts and your emotions. External stimuli, be it things that happen in the world, be it other people, they can't do anything and make you feel a certain way. They can do things. Then your thoughts about those things, your judgments about those things, how those thoughts work and formulate, are what triggers the emotions. And you can change how you think about things, which means that you are the one in control of how you feel, because you can choose, you can change and choose your judgments and how you process this external stimuli. I'm going to read it again. Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. Well, that's it for today. No, I'm just kidding. All right, number 8. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you inside or out. Number 9. It was for the best, so nature had no choice but to do it. Number 10. That every event is the right one. Look closely and you'll see. Not just the right one overall, but right, as if someone had weighed it out with scales. Keep looking closely like that and embody it in your actions. Goodness, what defines a good person? Keep to it in everything you do. Number 11. Not what your enemy sees and hopes that you will, but what's really there. Not what your enemy sees and hopes that you will, but what's really there. Number 12. 2 kinds of readiness are constantly needed. 1, to do only what the logos of authority and law directs with the good of human beings in mind. 2, to reconsider your position when someone can set you straight or convert you to his. But your conversion should always rest on a conviction that it's right or benefits others, nothing else. Not because it's more appealing or more popular. Number 13. You have a mind? Yes. Well, why not use it? Isn't that all you want, for it to do its job? Number 14. You have functioned as a part of something. You will vanish into what produced you. Or be restored, rather, to the logos from which all things spring by being changed. Number 15. Many lumps of incense on the same altar. One crumbles now, one later, but it makes no difference. 16. Now they see you as a beast, a monkey, but in a week they'll think you're a god if you rediscover your beliefs and honor the logos. Number 17. Not to live as if you had endless years ahead of you. Death overshadows you. While you're alive and able, be good. Don't live as if you had endless years ahead of you. Death overshadows you. While you're alive and able, be good. Number 18. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think or do. Only what you do. Is this fair? Is this the right thing to do? Blank, not to be distracted by their darkness. To run straight for the finish line, unswerving. 19. People who are excited by posthumous fame forget that the people who remember them will soon die too. And those after them in turn, until their memory passed from one to another like a candle flame gutters and goes out. But suppose that those who remembered you were immortal and your memory undying. What good would it do you? And I don't just mean when you're dead, but in your own lifetime. What use is praise except to make your lifestyle a little more comfortable? You're out of step, neglecting the gifts of nature to hand on someone's words in the future. Number 20. Beautiful things of any kind are beautiful in themselves and sufficient to themselves. Praise is extraneous. The object of praise remains what it was, no better and no worse. This applies, I think, even to beautiful things in ordinary life, physical objects, artworks. Does anything genuinely beautiful need supplementing? No more than justice does, or truth, or kindness, or humility. Are any of those improved by being praised, or damaged by contempt? Is an emerald suddenly flawed if no one admires it? Or gold, or ivory, or purple? Lyres, knives, flowers, bushes? All right, we'll leave it there. Pick up with 21 next time. Good stuff. Always good stuff. Oh yeah, today I have this scheduled. This happens every 3 months. Today is what I call a performance review day, but not in terms of like an employer-employee. Like you have your performance review where they evaluate you usually once a year and determine if you're deserving of a raise, and if so, how much of a raise you're deserving of. This is a performance review day in terms of my relationships in order of the closest and most important. So I will begin with my wife and my kids today. And what I mean by performance review is when you sit down with them and you have a one-on-one quiet time talk where you ask for feedback. Hey, this past 3 months, how have I been doing? What have you liked? What have you not liked? What do you wish I did more of? What do you wish I did less of? What accomplishments of mine are you most pleased with, and what things are you most wishing I would take care of? Just be a completely open question. How am I doing? I want a performance review. Give me a rating. It doesn't have to be a number, obviously. But take that time to request feedback from the other person. So, wife and with my children. Hey, kids, how am I doing? Am I being a good dad? What do you wish I would do more of with you or for you? These types of questions. What do you wish I would do less of? What do you not like that I do? These type of questions are what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go through all of my closest relationships today. And then maybe later today or tomorrow, you move on to the second tier, or the second layer relationships. People that you don't see every day, but that you still care very much about. And then after that, you move on to your closest friends. Hey, dude, can we talk for a minute? I really enjoy our friendship. This is one of my most important friendships. I just want to take a second to check in, see how things are going. Are you happy with what I've been doing? Have I done anything, that you're not happy with? Would you like to hang out more? It sounds awkward, but I guess it is awkward if you make it weird, but it's like a looser, more chill version of the one that you would have with your wife or kids, basically. Like, it's just sort of, you start with like a recognition of, hey, I really appreciate, your friendship. And I want to make sure that, it stays around for a long time because I highly value this friendship or this relationship. So, anyway, over the next few days, those will be the types of performance reviews that I think about and work on. All right, guys, have a great day. Have a great day.